Hey, seventh graders, we are moving on. We're going to look at air masses and storms today in science. So our key questions, lesson 4, what are the major air masses? What are the main types of fronts? And what weather do cyclones and anticyclones bring? From lesson 5, how do the different types of storms form? How can you stay safe in a storm? So an air mass is a huge body of air that has similar temperature, humidity, and air pressure at any given height. There are 4 major types of air masses that influence the weather in North America. We have the maritime tropical, continental tropical, maritime polar, and continental polar. So what do all those words mean? Tropical is a warm air mass that forms in the tropics and has low air pressure. Polar is a cold air mass that forms north of 50 north latitude or south of 50 south latitude. I think I might have put south in there twice, and it has high air pressure. Maritime is a humid air mass that forms over oceans, and continental, which you might see the word continent in, a dry air mass that forms over land. So you can kind of keep those two straight. Maritime sounds kind of like marina, which is where boats are kept, and continental sounds like continent. So the maritime polar is a cool, humid air masses form over the icy cold North Atlantic Ocean. These air masses are often pushed out to sea by westerly winds. Continental polar is large air masses that form over Canada and Alaska and can bring bitterly cold weather with low humidity. Storms may occur when these air masses move south and collide with maritime tropical air masses moving north. Continental tropical are hot, dry air masses that form mostly in summer over dry areas of the southwest and northern Mexico. They can bring hot, dry weather to the southern Great Plains. And finally, we have maritime tropical, warm, humid air masses that form over the Pacific Ocean. In summer, they usually bring hot, humid weather, summer showers, and thunderstorms. In winter, they can bring heavy rain or snow. Jet streams are bands of high-speed winds with about 10 kilometers above Earth's surface. A front is the boundary where unlike air masses meet but do not mix. Colliding air masses can form 4 types of fronts: cold fronts, warm fronts, stationary fronts, and occluded fronts. So cold fronts are cold air is dense and tends to sink. So cold fronts tend to arrive quickly because their leading edges move along the ground. They can cause abrupt weather changes, including thunderstorms. After a cold front passes, colder, drier air moves in, often bringing clear skies, a shift in wind direction, and lower temperatures. Warm fronts. At a warm front, a fast-moving warm air mass overtakes a slower cold air mass. If the warm air is humid, light rain or snow falls along the front. If the air is dry, scattered clouds form. Because warm fronts arrive slowly, the weather may be rainy or cloudy for several days. After a warm front passes, the weather tends to be warmer and humid. Occluded fronts. The most complex weather situations occur at an occluded front, where a warm air mass is caught between 2 cooler air masses. The warm air mass is cut off or occluded from the ground. As the warm air cools and its water vapor condenses, the weather may turn cloudy and rain or snow may fall. And last, we have stationary fronts. Sometimes cold and warm air masses meet, but neither one can move the other. Where the warm and cool air meet, water vapor in the warm air condenses into rain, snow, fog, or clouds. But if a stationary front stalls, it may bring many days of clouds and precipitation. What about a cyclone? Is a swirling center of low air pressure. Cyclones and decreasing air pressure are associated with clouds, wind, and precipitation. Anticyclones are a high pressure center of dry air. The descending air in an anticyclone generally causes dry, clear weather. Now moving on to storms. Storm is a violent disturbance in the atmosphere. All year round, most precipitation begins in clouds of snow. If the air is colder than 0 degrees Celsius all the way to the ground, the precipitation falls as snow. A thunderstorm is a small storm often accompanied by heavy precipitation and frequent thunder and lightning. Thunderstorms form in large cumulonimbus clouds, also known as thunderheads. Lightning is a sudden spark or energy discharge caused when electrical charges jump between parts of a cloud, between nearby clouds, or between a cloud and the ground. A hurricane is a tropical storm that has winds of about 119 kilometers per hour or higher. So a hurricane begins over warm ocean water, as a low pressure area or a tropical disturbance. A storm surge is a dome of water that sweeps across the coast where a hurricane lands. A tornado is a rapidly whirling, funnel-shaped cloud that reaches down to touch or surface. And then here we have the enhanced Fujita scale, and then the types of damage that those types of tornadoes bring. So F0 is going to be the tamest tornado, so that one's going to branch, like branches will break off trees. And F1, mobile homes can be overturned. F2, trees are uprooted. F3, roofs and walls are torn down. F4, houses are leveled. And F5, houses are carried away. Tornadoes are most commonly developed in thick cumulonimbus clouds, the same clouds that bring thunderstorms. Then moving on, we have snowstorm. If you are caught in a snowstorm, try to find shelter from the wind. During thunderstorms, avoid places where lightning may strike. Also avoid objects that can conduct electricity, such as metal objects and bodies of water. So we're talking about safety in storms now. Next, we have hurricane watch, indicates that hurricane conditions are possible in an area in the next 36 hours. Evacuate is moving away temporarily from an area about to be affected by severe weather. A hurricane warning means hurricane conditions are expected within the next 24 hours. If you hear a hurricane warning and are told to evacuate, leave the area immediately. A tornado watch is an announcement that tornadoes are possible in your area. A tornado warning is an announcement that a tornado has been seen in the sky or on weather radar. If you hear a tornado warning, move to a safe area as soon as you can. The safest place to be during a tornado is in a storm shelter or a basement. If there's not a basement, you can move to the middle of the ground floor, so the first level, whatever you would walk in immediately from your house. Stay away from windows and doors. Lie under a sturdy piece of furniture. If you are outdoors, you want to lie flat in a ditch. So our vocabulary. Air mass is a huge body of air that has similar temperature, humidity, and air pressure at any given height. Tropical is a warm air mass that forms in the tropics and has low air pressure. Polar is a cold air mass that forms north of 50 north latitude or south of 50 south latitude and has high air pressure. Maritime is a humid air mass that forms over oceans. Continental is a dry air mass that forms over land. Jet streams, bands of high-speed winds about 10 kilometers above Earth's surface. Front, the boundary where unlike air masses meet but do not mix. Cyclone, a swirling center of low air pressure. Anticyclones, a high pressure center of dry air. Storm, a violent disturbance in the atmosphere. A thunderstorm is a small storm often accompanied by heavy precipitation and frequent thunder and lightning. Lightning is a sudden spark or energy discharge caused when electrical charges jump between parts of a cloud, between nearby clouds, or between a cloud and the ground. A hurricane is a tropical storm that has winds of about 119 kilometers per hour or higher. A storm surge is a dome of water that sweeps across the coast where a hurricane lands. A tornado is a rapidly whirling, funnel-shaped cloud that reaches down to touch Earth's surface. Evacuate means moving away temporarily from an area about to be affected by severe weather. And your assignment is to complete the Edmodo questions for lessons 4 and 5. This will be a bit bigger assignment because there was a lot of content, but let me know if there's any questions.